Class 12th, Subject Chemistry, Chapter number 2, Solutions, Part 1. So we have been studying about solutions from our junior classes. So with this chapter, we'll be just studying briefly about what are solutions, what are the different types of solutions, what is a solute and a solvent. So let us start with the definition of solution. So solutions are homogeneous mixtures of one or more solutes dissolved in a solvent. So it is nothing but it's a homogeneous mixture that is formed when you're mixing or dissolving a solute in a solvent. So when you're mixing a solute in a solvent, it results in the formation of a solution. So solution can be defined as a liquid mixture with minor component like salt, sugar that is uniformly distributed within the major component, that is water. So solutions are defined as nothing but it's a liquid mixture where the minor components like that is the solute like the salt, sugar, etc. are uniformly distributed in the major component, that is nothing but solvent. So here the major component that is taken is water. So when you're dissolving salt in water, the minor component is the salt and the major component is the water. So where the salt is the solute and water is the solvent, they both combine and uniformly distribute into each other and results in the formation of a solution. So some examples of solutions are lemonade, coffee, tea, etc., where solutes dissolve with solvents to produce solution. So now we have understood what are solutions. Now let us understand what are solute and solvents. So solvent is nothing but solvent is the substance which dissolves the solute to produce a homogeneous mixture. So it is a substance in which a solute dissolves. So solute dissolves in solvent to produce or give rise to homogeneous mixtures. So here we can see in this picture, water has been taken as a solvent and the quantity of water has been taken is more in amount compared to that of the solute that is taken. So the substance that is taken in larger amount and the substance which dissolves the solute is referred or is called as solvent. Similarly, when we look into solute, the substance that dissolves in a solvent to give a homogeneous mixture is solute. So the substance that is dissolved in a solvent is called as solute, and the substance that is taken in lesser amount is referred to as the solute. So we can see here both solute and solvent, when they uniformly distribute or mix with each other, it results in the formation of solution. Okay, so solute plus solvent gives rise to solution, where we can see in this diagram solvent is present in larger amount while the solute is taken in lesser amount. So both of them uniformly distribute and mix with each other and result in the formation of solution. So now we have understood what are solutions, and we have also understood the two components of solutions, that is solute and solvent. Now next we are going to study what are the two types of solutions. So there are two types of solutions. They are homogeneous solutions and heterogeneous solutions. So we'll be learning both type of solutions. So firstly, let us look into what are homogeneous solutions. So those solutions which have uniform composition throughout and the properties of the solutions are also uniform are referred to as homogeneous solutions. For example, when you are going to dissolve salt in water, have you all ever observed that the upper part of the solution is more saltier than the lower part of the solution? No, right? Similarly, when you're dissolving sugar in water, have you observed that the lower part of the solution is much more sweeter than the upper part of the solution? Have you observed so? No, because when we are dissolving salt or sugar in water, both of them uniformly distribute or uniformly dissolve in water. So that is, they have uniform composition. So they are uniformly distributed into the water, so the entire solution will have the same saltiness or will have the same sweetness, right? Because they are uniformly distributed in the water. So that is, the composition is uniform, and the properties throughout the solution is also uniform. That is why they are referred to as homogeneous solutions. Okay, so some examples of homogeneous solutions are salt in water or sugar in water, cough syrup, cup of coffee, mouthwash, perfumes are all examples of homogeneous mixtures. Even cup of coffee is also a homogeneous mixture, right? Because we can see uniform composition of milk, coffee powder throughout the solution, right? Even sugar, we cannot, when we are drinking a cup of coffee, we do not feel that the upper part of the solution has much more coffee powder or much more sweetness, right? Do not feel so, because they are uniformly distributed. There is uniform composition throughout, and the properties of the solution is also uniform. That is why these all solutions are examples of homogeneous solutions. So now let us understand the second type of solution, that is heterogeneous solutions. So heterogeneous solutions are nothing but they are non-uniform composition. Okay, so heterogeneous solutions have non-uniform compositions, and the properties of the solutions are also non-uniform. That is why they are called as heterogeneous solutions. For example, if you consider, or if you take a beaker and you are dissolving some amount of oil in water, after some time, after dissolving and thoroughly stirring the solution, you will find that two separate layers has been formed in the beaker. That is, oil has formed a separate layer and water or clear water solution has formed a separate layer, because oil has not dissolved in water. They are not uniformly distributed. They are not uniformly dissolving into each other. That is why they have non-uniform composition, and their properties are also different throughout the solution. Oil has different property, water has different property, so both of them are formed in two separate layers. So this is an example of heterogeneous solution, because they have a non-uniform composition throughout, and the properties of the solutions are also non-uniform. Similarly, if you add sand into this solution, now after some time you will be able to observe three different layers of solution being formed. That is, oil is one layer, sand also forms another layer in water, and clear solution forms another layer. So three different layers will be formed when you're dissolving oil, sand in water. So this proves that oil and sand, both of them are not soluble in water. Both of them do not uniformly distribute in water. That is why they form non-uniform composition. That is why they are referred to as heterogeneous solutions. So let us look into some examples of heterogeneous solutions. That is, you take oil in water, sand in water, or water with chalk powder. These are all examples of heterogeneous solutions, because here the solute and the solvent, it results in the formation of heterogeneous solutions. So whenever we are thinking about solutions, we feel that solutions are always in liquid state, or all the solutions are in liquid phase. But no, solutions can be gaseous solutions, solid solutions, and liquid solutions. So today we'll be learning the different or the three types of solutions. Firstly, let us concentrate on gaseous solutions, where the solvent is gas. Okay, so the solute can be in solid, liquid, or gaseous state, but the solvent is in gaseous form. Okay, so that is why they are called as gaseous solutions, because here the solvent, that is, which is taken in larger amount or which dissolves the solute, is in gaseous state. So let us look into the first type, where the solute and the solvent, both of them are in the same state. That is, both of them are in gaseous form. So the example here is when oxygen gas is dissolved in nitrogen gas, they form a solution, that is they form gaseous solutions. Okay, so here both solvent and the solute are in the same phase, that is both of them are in gaseous state, so they are called as gaseous solutions. Similarly, the second type of the solution is nothing but where the solute is in liquid state and the solvent is in gaseous form. So the liquid which is the solute is dissolved in the gaseous state, that is it is dissolved in the solvent. So example is chloroform, which is a liquid, is dissolved in nitrogen gas. So this is an example of gaseous state where a liquid solute is dissolved in a gaseous solvent. Similarly, the third type of gaseous solution is nothing but where solid solute is dissolved in gaseous solvent. So the example is camphor. Okay, so camphor, which is solid in state, is dissolved in nitrogen gas, which is the solvent. So this results in the formation of a gaseous solution where solid camphor is dissolved in nitrogen gas, which is the solvent. So we have understood the first type of solution, that is gaseous solutions. Now let us look into the second type of solution, that is liquid solutions, where the solvent will be in liquid state and the solute phase can be solid, liquid and gas. So the first type is where gaseous solute is dissolved in liquid solvent. So gas, which is the solute, is dissolved in liquid, which is the solvent. So the example is oxygen in water, where oxygen is the solute in gaseous state and it is dissolved in water, which is the solvent. Similarly, the second type of liquid solutions is liquid-liquid, where both the solute and the solvent are in the same state, that is both of them are in liquid state, where the solute, that is ethanol, which is in liquid state, is dissolved in water, which is the solvent, that is also in liquid state. So both liquid and liquid is nothing but both the solute and the solvents are in liquid state. Example is ethanol in water. This is also an example of liquid solutions. Third type of liquid solution is where the solute is in solid state and the solvent is in liquid state. Okay, so solids is dissolved in liquid. So example is glucose in water, where glucose is the solute which is in solid state and it is dissolved in water, which is the liquid state. Similarly, let us look into the third type of solution, that is nothing but solid solutions. So now we have understood what are gaseous solutions, what we have understood its examples, and we have also looked into liquid solutions and its examples, how they differ in their solutes. Okay, they have three different states of solutes have been added in the same state of the solvent, that is liquid. Similarly, let us look into the third type of solution where the solute is gas and the solvent is a solid. Okay, so here we can see the solvents are solids here and the solutes are gas, liquid and solid. So the first type is where gas is dissolved in a solid. So hydrogen solution in palladium. So hydrogen is a gas, okay, that is dissolved in a solution of palladium. Okay, so palladium is nothing but solid state and hydrogen is a gas which is dissolved in solid, that is palladium metal. This is an example of solid solution. So second type of solid solution is where the solute is in liquid state and the solvent is the solid state. Example is amalgam of mercury with sodium. So amalgam is nothing but mixture amalgam of mercury when it is dissolved in sodium, which is the solvent. It also is an example of solid solutions. So we can see here all the three solvents that is used are solid in state, while the solutes that is used have both or are in solid, liquid and gaseous state. Lastly, the third type of solid solution is nothing but solid-solid, where both solute and solvent, both of them are in same state. So the solid state here is copper dissolved in gold. So copper is an element, we know that it's a metal which is solid in state, where when it is dissolved in gold, which is also in solid state, that is an example of solid solutions. So we have understood the three types of solutions here, that is gaseous solutions, liquid solutions and solid solutions. Right, so we have understood the three types of liquid solutions where we have varied the state of the solutes. Okay, and we have also studied about the three types of liquid solutions where the three solutes states have been varied, that is they have solid, liquid and gas. Similarly, we have also learned for solid solutions, but the solvent state remains the same. That is, in gaseous solution the solvent state remains in gaseous state, in liquid solutions the solvent state remains in liquid state, and lastly in solid solutions the solvent state remains in solid state. Okay, so we have learned examples also related to these types of solutions. Now we need to understand what do we mean by concentration. Concentration is nothing but the amount of solute that is present in a particular solution is determined by concentration. So concentration of a solution is actually the measure of composition of a solution. That is, how much amount of solute or solvent that is present in the solution tells us the concentration of the solution. So if we feel, or if we add one drop of a solute into a solution, we can say that the given solution is dilute in nature. But when we are adding 10 drops of a solute into the solution, we can say the given solution is concentrated. So actually concentration of a solution is of two types, where we can classify the solutions as dilute solution and concentrated solution depending upon the amount of solute that is added. Okay, so concentration of a solution is the composition of the solution. It's a measure of composition of the solution. So we can classify concentration of the solution as two types, that is concentrated solutions and dilute solutions. So concentrated solutions are those solutions which have very large quantity of solute. So they are called as concentrated solutions. And dilute solutions are those solutions which contain very less or small quantity of solute. So here you can see the difference between the two diagrams. The concentrated solution is much more darker in color compared to the dilute solutions because large quantity of solute has been added. So this is called as a concentrated solution. We can see large number of solute molecules present in the solution, which gives this darker color to the solution. Similarly, when we are looking into dilute solution, we can see less number of solute molecules present in the solution, and the color of the solution is comparatively lighter than the concentrated solution. That is why they are called as dilute solutions. So concentrated solutions have large quantity of solute and they appear to be darker in color, while dilute solutions have less quantity of solute and they appear to be lighter in color. So by which we can find out the concentration of a solution, if it's concentrated or if it's diluted. So if we are taking 4 beakers and into 4 beakers we are adding different amount of solute. That is, into beaker 1 if we are adding 1 drop of solute, into beaker 2 we are adding 2 drops of solute, into beaker 3 we are adding 3 drops of solute, and into the last beaker, that is the 4th beaker, we are adding 4 drops of the solute. What do we see? We can see that all the 4 beakers differ from each other in their concentration, right? So the first solution which has less amount of solute is said to be a dilute solution, and the last beaker which contains the large amount of solute is said to be a concentrated solution, right? So from dilute solution we can make a solution into a concentrated solution by adding more amount of solute. When we are increasing the amount of solute, the dilute solution is getting concentrated, right? So all the 4 beakers differ from each other because all the 4 beakers have different concentration of their solute. Okay, so the first beaker is dilute in nature and the last beaker is concentrated in nature. Similarly, we can also convert a concentrated solution into dilute solution. How? By adding more amount of water. So when you are increasing the amount of solvent here, the amount of solute decreases automatically. So we can make the solution as diluted, because dilute solution contains less amount of solute. Here dilute solution contains more amount of solute. So when we are increasing the amount of solvent here, the solute amount will decrease, by which concentrated solutions can also be converted into dilute solutions, right? Dilute solutions can be converted to concentrated solution by increasing the amount of solute. Similarly, concentrated solutions can also be converted to dilute solutions by increasing the amount of solvent. Okay, so now we are going to study in this chapter, there are different techniques by which we can calculate the concentration of solution. Okay, so the quantitative calculation of concentration of solution can be done by these methods. By these methods, we can calculate the concentration of a given solution. First method is mass percentage, volume percentage, mass by volume percentage, parts per million, mole fraction, molarity and molality. So these methods all can be used to calculate the concentration of a particular solution. So out of these methods, let us first focus on the first method, that is mass percentage. So let us understand what is mass percentage. So mass percentage can be defined as the ratio of mass of the component of the solution and the total mass of the solution multiplied by 100%. So since mass percentage we are going to calculate, so we are using the formula here, mass of the component in the solution divided by total mass of the solution into 100. Okay, so mathematically mass percentage of a component is given by the formula mass of the component in the solution divided by total mass of the solution into 100. So it is nothing but it's a ratio where we are calculating the ratio between mass of the component in the solution divided by total mass of the solution. It is multiplied by 100%, since we are calculating mass percentage here. So now here let us look into an example of mass percentage here, where we are going to calculate the mass percentage of glucose. So the mass percentage of glucose in 100 gram solution containing 10 grams of glucose is dissolved in 90 grams of water. Okay, so we are given that 100 grams of glucose is present, okay, in which 10 grams of glucose, 100 grams of glucose solution is present, in which 10 grams of glucose is dissolved in 90 grams of water. So when you calculate the mass percentage, how will you do that? Firstly, we'll have to write the formula, that is mass of the glucose in solution divided by total mass of the solution into 100. So the mass of the glucose that is added is 10 grams divided by total mass of the solution, that is 10 plus 90 grams of water. So 10 grams of glucose plus 90 grams of water is equal to 100 gram of the glucose solution. So that is 10 divided by 100 into 100. So 10% is nothing but the mass percentage of glucose that is present in the given solution. Okay, so here we have substituted directly the values into the formula, where 10 grams of glucose has been added into the solution, that is divided by the total mass of the solution. That is when we are adding the amount of solute and solvent added, that is 10 plus 90 is the amount of solution that is present, 100 into 100%. So we get the answer as 10% as the mass percentage of glucose solution. Now we are going to learn the second type of solution, that is nothing but volume percentage. So volume percentage can be defined as the ratio of volume of the component of the solution divided by total mass of the solution multiplied by 100%. So it is nothing but volume percentage of a component is nothing but is the volume of the component in the solution divided by total volume of the solution into 100. It is similar to mass percentage. In mass we were here we were writing mass of the component. In volume percentage, we are calculating the volume of the component in the solution divided by total volume of the solution into 100. So let us look into an example where ethanol solution is taken, that is 100 ml of ethanol solution contains 10 ml of ethanol dissolved in 10% of water. Okay, so we are going to calculate volume percentage. So volume of ethanol in the solution divided by total volume of the solution into 100 is the formula to calculate volume percentage. So volume of the ethanol that is added is 10 ml divided by total volume of the solution is nothing but 100 ml, right? 100 ml of the water has been taken, or water solution that is taken is 100 ml. That is 10 ml of ethanol divided by total concentration of the solution that is present is 100 into 100%. So when we calculate, we get this answer, or we get the volume percentage as 10%, because 10 ml of ethanol solution is dissolved in the entire or total volume of the solution, and when we are calculating the volume percentage, we get it as 10%. So 10 ml of ethanol is being dissolved in 100 ml of the solution. Next, we are going to study about mass by volume percentage. So mass by volume percentage is defined as mass of the solute dissolved in 100 ml of the solution. So mass of the solute here is given in grams and volume of the solution is given in mLs. Okay, so the formula for calculating mass by volume percentage is mass of the solute, that is in grams, divided by volume of the solution, which is in milliliters, into 100. So mass of the solute should be in grams and it is divided by volume of the solution, that is given in milliliters, into 100. So this is the formula that is used to calculate mass by volume percentage.